team is targeted to attack Caucasians and black people. The people who are most immune are Ashkenazi Jews and Chinese.
Hello, beautiful people. How are you this very fine sort of a day? Well, it hasn't been a very fine sort of a day. They've been hazing us, or maybe it's just been overcast. There was a bit of rain around overnight. There's probably going to be a bit more rain around tonight where I am, and maybe in your part of the world. They're certainly making chunks of it all around the country at the moment, and been having some interesting discussions with people around the country who are keeping a very close eye on some of these installations that we know that exist, and some of the ones that are popping up, like that one off Mackay that I was showing you last night. Michelle Bradley Smith was first in the house tonight. Hello, Michelle. Lovely to see you in. Great to have you, all of you, part of the show. Dave O only missed out by a 15th, which is just slightly less than a bee's dick. So you did pretty well there, Dave. Did very well indeed. Hope your new year is going along well, brother. Hello, Miss Misha. Evening, darling. Happy New Year to you and your other half. I hope you are both terribly well and doing wonderful things. Look forward to seeing you in the not too distant future down your part of the world, I hope. I hope you had a great, holiday period. I guess you're back at it right about now. Hello, Rachel in Taswegialand. What have you got for us? Another weird encounter? Yep, I'm going to have to really have a think about that one, Rach, before I can go and comment on it. My head's in a different place right now. Hello, the gorgeous Sunflower. Thank you for your email today. Yeah, I could have stayed and talked to you guys for ages too. It was a pity that you had to rush off, but I do understand you have other pressing matters in your life, and that seems only fair. Having a bit of a scan down. Who else has arrived in here? Hello, Deborah. Hi, Macca. See who else. DM's in the house. Eliza, hello, doll. Looks like the group is playing as usual. Stabinator. That's a great name. Zabinator. David Watson, how are you, mate? The Wide Bay, beautiful part of the world. I used to work in Bundy many moons ago. You're not the only one without a life, mate. There's plenty of us like that. Don't go feeling that way. G'day, Chris. Hello to what the? Happy Thursday indeed to you. Indeed. Chaos is in the house, so God knows what we can expect. Thank you, Miss Misha. Appreciate the sticker, really do. Thank you very much. It all goes to a good cause. It's about 250 litres big and sits on the passenger side of the bus. It's a marvellous place to store money, although it doesn't stay there very long. Daryl Roberts, evening to you too. Hi, Mick. G'day, Paul. I haven't seen your face in a little while. Might have been in the chat, so I've just been missing out. Camillo, nice to talk to you, mate. And the Bergwerf himself is in the house. G'day, brother. I hope you're doing well down there and gearing up for your run, which I would expect the announcement of any date in the Melbourne by-election should be imminent, I would have thought. So let me know when that happens, mate. J1, evening to you too, George. Shari Cooker. I wonder if that's any relation to Phil Cooker. One could only imagine. Haven't read anything that anybody's writing, just seeing new names on Red Alert. How do you? Scotty T. G'day, John. And yeah, Labor candidate was announced today. Was that the Labor candidate, Darren, that we were talking about? There was some rumours that one Dan Andrews was going to be nominating for a federal seat. That was part of the reason why he was getting out of state politics. But I don't know if that's been the case. I haven't been following news today, so, I very rarely follow mainstream media news, so haven't heard. But if that's the case, no, it wasn't him. Oh, all good. All right, well, that's not a bad thing then. I don't know, mate. We can't expect much more. It is a Labor candidate after all. So good luck to you and your charge. Should you, I don't even know if you publicly announced this. You may not have publicly announced it. I'm not even sure if you are doing it, or maybe you are, maybe not. But Darren may well be going for it. Okay. So it looks like the new Labor candidate is a friend of the former incumbent member, Peter Murphy. So maybe possibly someone from her office or an assistant like that. They'd like somebody who knows how the system works in Canberra, I imagine. God, good luck to them. All right, let's get into stuff we can talk about tonight. What am I going to kick it off with? I've lost my pad, which is a bit of a problem. So those of you who received patches from me, some may have got them in rather oversized envelopes. That, unfortunately, is about all I've got to write on in here at the moment. I'm buggered if I know where my good pad's gone. It's got all my great ideas in it too. You might remember last night I was talking about Obama and a Republican who is running in the race at the moment to see whether he will be the Republican candidate for president, challenging Donald Trump at some point in the not too distant future, or that comes up later in the year, I think. Now, his name is Vivek Ramaswamy, and he comes across as pretty moderate, pretty reasonable, pretty clear thinking, and somebody who isn't too objectionable. Similarly, I said last night that there were rumors about him being hooked up with Obama in some way, shape, or form, and that he was just another plant in the system. And then, bugger me dead, today, this turned up. Have a look. Sorry, that's the wrong one. Have a look at this.
Republican idea.
These are not Democrat ideas or Republican ideas.
This is an American idea.
These are fundamentally American ideals.
Imagine they were driving a car and they drove it into the ditch.
If somebody has repeatedly crashed your car,
You can't have the keys back.
do you want to turn over the keys to the same people who crashed it?
You said Russia in the 1980s are now calling to ask for their foreign policy back.
I have a newsflash. The USSR does not exist anymore.
You know, the Cold War's been over for 20 years.
It fell back in 1990.
A skinny guy with a funny name.
Who the heck is this skinny guy with a funny last name?
But they sense deep in their bones.
I believe deep in my bones.
E pluribus unum. Out of many, one. We are one people.
I have a dream that we can be one people.
So there you go. I don't know. Imitation is the sincerest form of flattery, I suppose. But why would he be trying to flatter Obama? I have also seen recently, I just haven't had time to download it, and it is quite a long piece where he's having a coffee with media out in front of a building, and he's asked a question about fairness in reporting and all that kind of thing, and he throws it back on the media beautifully and actually asks who there believes, well, a variety of questions really, but you know, who there actually believes that the reporting of the Russia collusion scandal was fair and unbiased, and none of the media held up their hands. He asked three different really big questions, and none of them, except one who had to hold up his hand because his printer broke the story. He put his hand up, but nobody else in the mainstream media. They made excuses. They offered just platitudes and bullshit. I'll find that again, and I will download that so I can show you again tomorrow night. So look, he is trying to keep the bastards honest, so to speak, and I don't know that it's possible to keep American mainstream media honest. I don't even know that it's worth trying, but give him his credit for that at least. He does seem to be giving it a bit of a go. The video that I mistakenly kicked things off with is a video that is a few years old. The technology that you're about to see was developed during the Obama administration and rolled out in the latter part of that administration. But if you think, the drone that the kids got for school or for home or for Christmas is the duck's nuts, get a load of this.
Your kids probably have one of these, right? Not quite. Hell of a pilot? No. That skill is all AI. It's flying itself. Its processor can react 100 times faster than a human. The stochastic motion is an anti-sniper feature. Just like any mobile device these days, it has cameras and sensors, and just like your phones and social media apps, it does facial recognition. Inside here is 3 grams of shaped explosive. This is how it works. Did you see that? That little bang is enough to penetrate the skull and destroy the contents. We're super proud of it.
Super proud of it. Why wouldn't you be? Pretty amazing technology, but I got a couple of issues with it. And while the AI ability is certainly there these days to do that sort of thing, and I'm sure they have put, a few grams of explosive inside these things, it would be possible to run them into something and blow up. I would have thought they wouldn't want to leave too much by way of technology behind, and that little drone bounced off that dummy's head almost whole, or it was completely whole. That would mean that the technology that they're using won't be theirs alone for very long. So just be a bit aware of some of this marvelous technology. It is certainly out there, and swarm technology in the military is something they're doing a lot on. They're also doing a lot of things in the military to do with, force protection, amongst other things. The military weren't involved in this initially, but you will have heard, of course, over the weekend there was a big hullabaloo at Miami Mall, a big Miami mall, and there were aliens running around. Apparently, must have been 500 police cars there, people screaming, running, terrifying around. Go have a look. This is what I showed you last night. So nothing. So lots of people, and all a bit weird. At any rate, that was last night. Now we have UFOs coming to town. No, they're not in our town just yet. Here's just want you to take note of the contrast in this image, right? It's about to change. Sort of yellow trailing edge, I think more to do with the lens and the camera than much else. I wouldn't go putting too much credibility into that one. Let's have a look at this. So this is in Italy. Okay, came off TikTok, but I want you to listen closely to the audio. I'm going to play it again. That's all you needed to hear. Have it again. Are you picking it up? One more time. Listen close. The screaming you're hearing is a sound effect. And you can tell that because there are uniform screams that all begin with one and then a second that jump into it. It's very hard to coordinate screams unless you're all getting people together and they can all actually count to 3. And trust me, that sometimes can be very difficult. Someone always starts first. So that is actually and I found the sound effect. It is a freely available sound effect. Bit of graphics playing around in the background with whatever the hell they decided to build, a space station or whatever it was. coming across the top. But wait, folks, there's more. That's Italy, that's Japan, and now we've got Jasper, Canada. Well, maybe. So that is a UFO over Jasper, Canada, from all accounts. So they are starting to show up all over the world. Is this Project Bluebeam in, early stages? I mean, we have heard that the deep state, as you would expect them to, are going to provide an end of days scenario. So this is the point where we stay calm, folks. Don't get carried away and be discerning in what you are seeing and hearing. I go back to that Italian UFO. That is some nice video and some nice audio, but it is not live. It is not real. So be discerning. The Jasper one, well, look, perspective is everything. And no, I'm not prepared to say that that's a UFO either. It could be a hole in the ground if you look at it from a different perspective, couldn't it? Although it would be a very perfect hole in the ground when you look at it like that. So this one, exposure, contrast, color saturation, all those things need to come into play when you start looking. It's difficult to tell whether or not that cloud is moving, or if in fact it is a cloud, or whatever the hell it is. But because there has been some manipulation, now whether that's automatic manipulation through the camera lens because the sun came out or whatever, I don't know. But if we have another look at it, watch where the sunlight talking away and you can't hear me. So the light source for that is coming from the left-hand side. You can production sense. I'm tending to believe that it is more to do with the automatic settings in the camera than just about anything else. But as they used to say in Dad's Army at great volume, don't panic, Mr. Mannering, don't panic, don't panic. Don't panic at all. My advice would be, I got told off the other day for saying I'd walk up to an alien and see if I could shake hands or walk through it. No, that's probably a stupid thing to do. But pick up a stone was suggested to me, or pick something up and throw it at whatever that image you're looking at is. And if it bounces off, it's probably not the best first interaction with another species you probably want to have, but at least you'll know it's real. Or at least more solid than a hologram. What's real? Yeah, what's real? Well, what is real? Hunter Biden turned up today in Washington, D.C. He turned up in front of the Oversight Committee. At one point in the Oversight Committee, one of the Congress women got a bit heated.
First of all, my first question is, who bribed Hunter Biden to be here today? That's my first question. Second question, you are the epitome of white privilege, coming into the Oversight Committee, spitting in our face, ignoring a congressional subpoena to be deposed. What are you afraid of? You have no balls to come up here and...
Mr. Chairman, point of inquiry.
Mr. Chairman,
If the gentle lady wants to hear from Hunter Biden, we can hear from him right now, Mr. Chairman. Let's take a vote and hear from Hunter Biden. What are you afraid of?
Hold on.
Order.
Are women allowed to speak in here or no? Are women allowed to speak in here or no? Because you keep interrupting me.
I'll interrupt the chairman. I don't know that he's a lady.
I think that Hunter Biden should be arrested right here, right now, and go straight to jail. Our nation is founded on the rule of law.
Come on.
And the premise that the law applies equally to everyone, no matter what your last.
Point of order, Mr. Chairman.
Yeah, she got right into him. And then Congressman Green got to have her 5 minutes at Hunter Biden, but his team got up and pissed off, like walked up as she was given her 5 minutes. They just, and you can see him tap the leg of his mate beside him, and the 3 or 4 of them all get up and walk out. His lawyer was obviously amongst them. Once he got outside the hearing room, the press were very keen to ask him 1 or 2 questions, and it appeared that Hunter's lawyer was the only one who was doing questions. But I've got to say, the best question I've heard yet fired.
Please, I'll answer your question if you be quiet and let me make a statement, okay?
What kind of crack do you normally smoke, Mr. Biden?
What kind of crack do you normally smoke, Mr. Biden? I mean, this is just such a joke. Such a joke. But the joke's not finished. In this next clip, the bloke who asked that question is holding a mobile phone, and he will come around from the back right of the picture and come around to sort of the top left corner of the picture, if you like, on the other side of Hunter Biden. And he doesn't give up. You might have to turn your telly up a little bit to hear this, or your audio up a bit to hear this. But have a look.
Other side of me.
Hunter, what's your favorite type of crack? Are you on crack today?
Mr. Biden, why did you put your dad on speakerphone with your business partner?
Oh, Mr. Biden, what's your favorite kind of crack? And are you on crack today? And Hunter turns around and looks at him, and the bloke's big shit-eating grin. Would have liked to have seen the other side. Seems like a good day for Burns. Bill Clinton got one too.
Nobody can dispute the fact that we need.
How good is that? No one can dispute the fact that you're a rapist. More of this is coming out every day, folks, and it's just great. Normies are starting to wake up to it, even though it is being done in a way that is probably less direct than most of us would like. However, it is what it is. We can only do what we do. And I've just discovered that we're not working on Rumble tonight. And for some reason, we're not working on Project Matilda. So my apologies to folks who aren't seeing the show there tonight. Right, Rumble, that's a weird one because everything was sorted out for that earlier. I've been having some issues recently. It may have something to do with a bit of the content that I've been looking at, but I had to restart the computer probably half a dozen times tonight before it would see my camera or my microphone for some reason. Things are getting a little bit weird in the house. Speaking of weird in the house, 770 Eastern Parkway in Brooklyn, New York City, the home, if you like, of the Hasidic Jewish faith, where Jews from all over the world come to discuss their plans on how they consult, work with, and, dare I say, manipulate the politicians in the different countries from which they come. This center that they found, this tunnel underneath, is just the gift that keeps on giving at the moment. Right across the road from that center is a, for the want of a better term, an orphanage and school holiday camp. Interesting that that particular building or that area has been taken over by the Child Services Department of the USA too. So Look, I don't think we've seen the last of that yet. I think there is a bit more horror still to come our way in that regard, sadly. Speaking of horror and things to come a little bit more our way, have you seen this? Yeah, that's a real thing. I don't believe it's available in Australia at this point, but I do believe it is available in other parts of the world. One of those parts of the world being Germany. Does that make you feel a bit sick? It certainly does for me. I understand. All right. I don't know if Woolworths have come out and made a statement, but they have been roundly beaten today, as they should. Their CEO should be taken out and publicly flogged with a wet towel or a pair of thongs at the very least. Good set of double pluggers slapped each side of the face real hard for the decision to abandon Australia Day. But they don't abandon things like Diwali Day. Happy Diwali Day was only in November, I think, from memory. What is Diwali Day? It is about the most important day on the Indian calendar. But Woolworths, all over that, all sorts of celebrating for that. I bet there are a few new and interesting spices in the aisles that day, but there won't be any new or interesting Australia Day merchandise on any Woolworths shelves unless they've come out and reversed their decision, which the gutless bastards are probably going to do. Oh, we were pressured into it. We had to do it, whatever. You shouldn't have made the decision in the first place. Your management, your board, and particularly your CEO are completely out of touch with the reality of this nation. If it needs to be made clear to you, you need only refer back to the referendum held last year by the squeezy elbow government, where their plans and your corporate plans, your corporate suck-up amounted to nothing, where the Australian public roundly rejected the notion that you were supporting, which was obviously against what the people wanted. And here you are doing it again, you bloody morons. Now, sadly, at this point in time, I don't think we have the infrastructure to get rid of Woolworths. But I can tell you, on Australia Day, folks, they have made billions of dollars out of us in the past, because we'll go there to buy our snags for the barbecue, our salads for the barbecue, our fruit for the day, and of course, we will buy our grog. Remember that BWS is owned by Woolworths. Folks, if I have one piece of advice for you and anybody that you meet saying, we're having a do on Australia Day, do you want to come around? Say yes, but make sure if you're buying anything, you do not get it from those pricks at Woolworths. Not one drop of alcohol, not one lettuce leaf, not one sausage. Fuck them. They disgust any decent Australian. And it's not, well, I guess it is about patriotism to a point, but it's not about overzealous patriotism. We celebrate Australia one day a year. We have had so much taken from us. We have so much ripped from us because of corporate do-gooders and blue-haired pansies wearing, a dress and a dick. It's just ridiculous. We have had enough. And I see some local politician or a polly that's running at any rate in the new elections has based or got a policy he's running on to ban welcome to countries. Hallelujah. All welcome to country is a corporate dollar swap. All right? It gives those corporate Aboriginals hooked up with the local governments, hooked up with the state governments, hooked up with the federal governments, the ability to write an invoice for pretty much any amount they want, particularly when it comes to federal and state, to go and do a welcome to country. A welcome to country that has no tribal significance, no national significance. It has no historical relevance beyond the fact that television star Ernie Dingo came up with it back in 1977, or a bit after. And yet, we're expected to pay homage every time somebody comes out in a kangaroo skin and lights a few gum leaves. And we're expected to pay for that privilege because we're told that if we don't pay for that privilege, they won't come and do it anymore. Well, welcome to country should be free. Welcome to country should be given freely. And there is no reason to welcome people to their own country. I am indigenous to this nation. You don't need to welcome me to it. I was born here like you were. Yes, I'm happy to be educated about deeper areas and deeper histories of our nation. The problem is there seems to be a lot of different people teaching a lot of different things about a lot of different histories. Gets a bit confusing after a while. And part of the process that I think we are going through here is discerning who those corporate First Nations folks are that are simply looking after themselves and watching their First Nations brothers and sisters die needlessly, live in such atrocious poverty. And they will get out and they will hold a press conference and they will say just how bad that is. And then they'll go and get into their 300 series Land Cruiser that cost $200,000 and drive back to their $1 million house. It's got to stop. Just has to stop. And we, the people, I believe, are now getting more numbers because we have had enough. A lot of this stuff is just being made so stupidly obvious to us. People in Switzerland at the moment, particularly in Bern in Switzerland, might be having a bit of a wake-up call. You might be familiar with the baby-eating statue that's in Bern. If you're not, here it is. Oh, no, beg your pardon. That's a good-looking girl in front of the Happy Diwali sign. This one, though, this is a satanic statue right in the heart of Bern in Switzerland. Now, one baby stuffed into the mouth of the monster and 2 more in its arms, 3 more held there. Somebody's come along and obviously given it a symbolic coating of blood, which now makes it look far more realistic to what the real thing, this thing is all about. How shocking it is, say the people of Bern, Switzerland, that this kind of vandalism could take place in that place. Well, maybe it wasn't. Maybe that isn't paint. Maybe that's just a seagull with bowel cancer. Just saying. Probably not a seagull that far away. Much bigger bird. Much bigger bird. The New York Post has got one of the better headlines about the that Jewish tunnel. Forgot to throw it up earlier. Interestingly, there is quite a history in the Hasidic Jew books of digging holes. And here's a Jewish man who traveled to Russia to explain, not how far back it goes. This hole in particular is relatively young.
I'm visiting Moscow, and I've been waiting to show you this synagogue here for a long time. Let's have a look why. So this show was built in the late 1800s, at a time when the Jewish people experienced pogroms. So what did the Jews who built this synagogue, what did they do? They made a tunnel, and this tunnel exists until this day. Have a look. Look, and lift up the stones, and look at this. Look inside. They're able to escape through this tunnel. If there's a pogrom, they'd go in here, they'd go through the tunnel, they'd escape from the shul, and they'd find themselves outside of danger. Now we're going to meet the rabbi of the shul. Come here. This is the rabbi of the most amazing shul, the most amazing rabbi, Rabbi Kogan. Shalom Aleichem. Look at this, the Megillah hidden in a besamim holder, so that it should be hidden, no one should see it. And they're able to use this.
So that's a document hidden inside a spice shaker, for the want of a better term. And look, we've all got secret ways of hiding things. That's a very clever one. Yes, okay, digging holes, I understand. You'd probably want to have a bit of an escape out. I don't know what a parugum is or whatever he's called it, but that obviously means there might have been people knocking on the door wanting to do bad things to those people inside, and they needed a way to escape. I can fully understand that. The problem that I have with it is that it's such an obvious escape route, isn't it? How far do you think you'd get? Any invader worth their salt would be going in and ripping up the, carpets and the floors, looking for where the wherefores and whys of how you got out of there, particularly how you got out of there. So it doesn't quite. The story's not quite the whole deal for me, but look, it is what it is, I guess. So that's the upshot of what happens when you go digging holes. I do have an X39 story for you before I go back in and have a look at your comments tonight. A friend of mine who was watching the show a couple of nights ago, and I was talking about how the X39 patch helped my daughter with her period pain, thought, she was experiencing something similar, and funnily enough had been given some patches to try. So she wants to give me her report. I'm reading it because it's on a screen over here. I was watching your podcast the other night when you said about your daughter using them for period pain. I thought, wow, that would be a miracle if it would work for me. It's the only time I ever take painkillers. This girl is supremely fit and eats like, I don't know, is there something cleaner than vegan? But yeah, real clean, supremely fit, and really treats her body as a temple, a bit like the personal trainer, but kind of different. Anyway, she thought, wow, that'd be a miracle if it worked for me. It's the only time I ever take painkillers out of pure desperation, as I get incredibly crippling pain in the fetal position on the floor crying kind of pain. Anyway, my body must have listened as I got mine today. So I put the patch under my belly button, and I haven't had any pain at all yet. No back pain, no cramping, zero painkillers. I literally can't believe it. This never happens. The only other thing that I've personally noticed so far with the patches is when I put the first patch on 3 weeks ago, I was dealing with sciatic pain from my butt to the back of my knee for a few weeks prior, and the pain went away after I put on the first patch. I believe they're doing wonders and probably doing a lot more than I can feel at this stage. I'll be on them for at least the next 4.5 months. And she subsequently told me that her boyfriend needs to get on them too. He was in an accident and has had pain ever since. So he's made her the guinea pig, I think, but I think he'll be embracing them too. So I'm so pleased to be hearing those sorts of stories. Pardon me, and thanks, Abs, for sharing. It's not just coming from my friends, so to speak. There are these sorts of stories pouring in from people all over, some having slower starts than others, some having amazing results, pretty much from the first patch, as Ebbs has in that case. So, look, all I can say is if you would like the opportunity to give them a try, you can do so. The link is scrolling across the bottom there, lifewave.com/VoF/enrollment/pack. Do not bother with the $25 thing. There is a $25 point buy-in point, but that doesn't get you any patches. So ignore that. If you want patches, and there is only one of you wanting patches, then the bronze pack level is the one I would suggest for you to get. If there are a couple of you that are both in pain, then the silver package, which gets you each enough patches for a month and another 30 on top of that, which you can either share around with others who might be in pain, or you can split between yourselves and continue getting on with your pain-free life, one would hope. So yeah, that's the deal. And obviously, if there is an opportunity for you to make a few bucks out of it, if you so desire, we are taking, or we are getting, we're not taking anything, but we are lucky enough to get a small contribution from every patch that is purchased. It's $15, and trust me, it goes straight into the fuel tank of the bus. And we need a lot of those sort of $15 spots to get enough money in the bank to effectively take the thing where it needs to go and get home again. So if you can help, if you don't mind making that sort of a donation and helping yourself out with a bit of pain relief all at the same time, then go and check them out. I am going to start loading up some of the testimonials that we have received from Carol, from Kate, and others. I'm going to start putting them up on the Voice of Freedom website. I think we should put a page up there just so folks can see it. I can put the unedited versions up. People have accused me of, oh, you're editing, you're taking things out. Well, I am, but I'm really only for brevity. And in most cases, I play them in full. So don't worry, I'm not taking anything that's salient out, or if I thought there was a problem. And in fact, I'm happy to tell you that I've had, look, all up, maybe half a dozen or slightly more than that emails from people saying that they haven't had any effect at all from the 2 that I've sent them. Some of those people have indeed purchased a month's worth of patches as well, and they're going to continue using them because most of the issues that are concerned with the people, well, particularly the one I'm thinking of, is a very long-standing issue, some 60 years. It would be foolish for anyone to believe that this patch is going to cure anything that has been in your body or on your body for that long overnight. It is just not going to happen. And it isn't, in fact, the patch that cures anything. It is your body that does it. All the patch does is enable a copper peptide in your blood to get a bit of a kickstart, to start working again as it did when you were a bit younger, and producing stem cells and reinvigorating the stem cells, if they can, that are already in your bloodstream. Now, we shed these stem cells, okay, so they need to be replaced. And of course, as we get older, in the natural course of things, they don't get replaced. Well, I don't take it from me. Take it from the testimonials that come to me quite freely from people like Ebbs that just say, hey, this is how it worked for me. I can only tell you how it worked for myself personally and what I have seen with my own eyes. And I have seen some staggering things with my own eyes, some staggering turnarounds in pain reduction and pain relief. Life-changing, truly life-changing effects on the body. I've also sadly seen no effect whatsoever on someone. And it was someone I hoped so much that they would get some sort of immediate benefit out of, to encourage them to keep going, because I fear that they're not going to keep going with it. There are a lot of issues with this person, a lot of things that need treating, and some of them may not be causes of pain, but could also be more significant than those issues with the pain. So I like to believe, although I have no evidence, but I like to believe that the patches are working on the things that you can't feel, as well as the things that you can. And sometimes the things that you can't feel might demand more attention. That's just my little fantasy blow up of it all. I'm not a doctor. If you do want the facts on how the patches work, x39freedom.net is the website to go and have a look at. Okay, so yeah, David, I think I know what you're referring to. Sounds like they are running rats from a sinking ship. We are seeing so much exposure of things, that would ordinarily upset these elites to a point where, yes, you would be seeing people hanging, or not hanging, but going to jail for long periods of time. I don't think we're seeing anything there at the moment. The Swiss police may well be looking for someone who put that paint there, or the giant bird that shit itself, but I wouldn't go holding my breath. It's interesting that Bern will be one of the stopping off points for many of those people heading to the World Economic Forum meeting at Davos, which they hold in January every year. That's where they work out how the climate change is screwing up everything. The world is heating up in a very bad way, and they do so from all their private jets. We did hear in one of the things last night, the UN is now broke, and that Klaus Schwab, if he turns up, remember he never turned up to last year's event. Maybe his clone wasn't ready. But he's saying that this year's event is going to be all about regaining trust. Regaining trust. The only time I'm going to start regaining my trust will be when I see him swinging from a rope. And the trust I regain will be in the bloody hemp that the rope is made out of and not in the bastard hanging from it. Bloody awful. Hippie, what you got? Forest of the Fallen by My Place Caboolture on tomorrow in the park next to the RSL. Free barbecue with Dr. Bay. Ah, how nice. Okay, so I imagine, is that around lunchtime, can I say? 12 o'clock? There is no time, or is there? Did I miss that? No, Forest of the Fallen at Caboolture tomorrow. In the park next to the RSL. Free barbecue. You'll get a few turning up to that one. And Dr. William Bay, or the former doctor. I'm not sure if he's got his doctorate back yet. He'll be smoking the sausages all day. Good look. Hey, I don't know if you're going to be able to, but why don't you take a little video and send it to me so we can show folks what happened. That would be pretty easy, wouldn't it? Got an iPhone, don't have to talk, don't have to be on it. Just tell Billy to say hi to me. He'll understand. Get the man on the sausages. He's pretty good on the tools, apparently. If a sausage needs work, splits open, he'll be able to stitch it back together. Just like that. Where am I at now? I'm still in Vegas, just like that. Tim Wilson, I hope you're doing all right, brother. I owe you a phone call, and I keep trying to get to it. Today has just got away from me again. In another big way, I was actually meant to catch up with somebody else today, and that's just been blown out. I'm going to be in all sorts of shit for that. But I will give you a call, mate. Just stick with us, Tim. Stay strong, brother. There's a lot of people in the community that love you. A lot of people in this community here that are happy to talk, happy to listen, happy to help where we can. I do really think you should have a talk with Tim again, mate, and have a think about what he's offering there. I think it could be very beneficial in the long run. Not even in the long run. I think it'd be very, very, very beneficial in the short term. But just know, mate, you're loved here, and you can always come in for a chat. Like to thank everyone at My Place Toowoomba. Oh, mate, that's awesome. So Tim's problem with his home, now that he's got the ability to put power back into it, is bloody awesome. Tim has a fifth wheeler, which unfortunately was damaged when he hit a low bridge sign. Better than hitting the low bridge. Tim was under a great deal of stress and pressure at the time. He was being hunted by the local council rangers because he'd been parked up out at, I don't know, Wivenhoe or Somerset Dam, I think it was, somewhere out there, just trying to get his head together. He's on some pretty serious medication, and he's got his issues, but he knows he can't drive on that medication. So the rangers came along, threatened him with $1,000 fine or more if he was still there when they came back. He had nowhere to go. He'd been on his medication. He had to hook the bus up, or the caravan up, the fifth wheeler up, and was speaking to his mother, trying to arrange somewhere where he might be able to go, and zigged when he should have zagged and went up a road that had this bridge. Thankfully, he wasn't going very fast, but you don't have to hit anything too hard in these things to do a lot of damage, and he did a lot of damage. Essentially, the whole gooseneck portion, roof and whatnot, was pretty badly damaged, and it was unsafe to have the 240 power running in it. He unfortunately had nowhere else to go, so he has been living in it with a tarp over it and making repairs as he can. He's on a pension and doesn't have too many tools. So, yeah, it's been a bit of a battle. So, Tim, thoughts with you. I'm so pleased that My Place Toowoomba have been able to have some skilled folks there to come and give you a bit of a hand. And, I think of you just about every day, brother. Just keep with us. Just keep fighting. Don't have to keep fighting for long, I don't think. There's a lot of good shit happening in the world. There you go, Aussie Sue. Carl would love to see more than 70 likes. Well, my little viewer thing on here tells me that on the 3 channels it's monitoring, there's a bit over 300 people watching that. So if you could like whatever channel you're watching at the moment, folks, that'd be good. I know it won't be Rumble, and I know it won't be Project Matilda. It could well be working well tonight in the Unity Hub. If you're watching on the Unity Hub through My Place, I hope you guys are doing well. I think we've been streaming through there okay the last couple of days. Vince hasn't rung me up and told me it wouldn't work, so hopefully it's all going well. What the? Yes, important to have enough copper in your system for the copper peptide to turn on. Yes, I would say that that's good. If you are eating a balanced diet, you should probably have enough in your system. I wouldn't suggest stripping down a wire and chewing on the contents of it as a way of supplementing your copper income. Yeah, Sharon, I think you're 100% right. And of course, there will be those who won't feel the miracle or won't see the miracle. But thankfully, there are many more. And if you are one of those who've gone off and bought some X39 patches, and you know people or you know of people who suffer pain, please share them. Please give them the opportunity to feel as good as you are, to have that life-changing moment. I mean, you've only got to share 1 or 2 to convince them that it is the patch that is making the difference, and not, the way they changed their hair or the fact they didn't have Wheaties for breakfast. They had Cocoa Pops instead. Not that I'd have any of those. Juice is what you have for breakfast. Good juice. Celery juice. I'm starting to add a few more things to celery juice. I've decided to give the rest of me lower end a bit of a rest for a while on the pure celery juice, but got to say, a tad addicted to the apple, celery, carrot, and ginger juice that I'm making, and I am resisting the urge to put soda water with it. Yes, I know, it's a bubble thing. Sorry, can't help. Brett, no studies on what spraying from planes does for temperatures rising. I got an interesting video today that is a walk around of a plane that claims to be a chemtrail plane. It's not a jet. It's a light aircraft, a twin engine. It's a Piper, I think, that has wing tanks on it, like end wing tanks. That's where they put 50 gallons aside of this whatever it is that they're spraying, and there is a notice on that. I don't know why I didn't load it up, actually. I'll have to go and dig it out for tomorrow night's show. There is a notice on there explaining what sort of poison can be put in there and sprayed out. He explains how it's wired in and pumped out through the exhaust system of the engine, which the heat of activates the substance as it's being blown out. So interesting, very interesting. He even goes inside the aircraft and shows the switch, which is down by the pilot's right leg, if you like, on the bulkhead there. And that's the time I started doubting the video, because the switch is very beautifully made and very clearly labeled chemtrails. So I'm sure they probably could call it chemtrails, but I would have thought they wouldn't be advertising that fact, just because you never know who's going to jump in that aircraft and see that, from maintenance people to, maybe somebody just hiring or coming out on a job with them. So no, I don't think that is a genuine video. It's possible, but I prefer the thing to take off and have someone in it. And let's watch what it's spraying before I believed it. Just to say that. That isn't to say that they are not spraying us. And I was having a conversation today with someone just about the hazing effect that they have been doing around the world now for some years. And it's all the paperwork is there. All the governments in the world have, well, the ones that matter at any rate, have all agreed to this, including Australia. And in fact, Malcolm Turnbull funded some of it to the tune of $10 million. I'd be surprised if he still isn't funding it, because the bastard will be making money in the back end somewhere. You can have no doubt, whether it was a payoff for, something he did while he was in office, screwing the country, or something they're going to get him to do. Sly bastard. And, well, enough talking about him. I put him in the same bucket as the red-headed clown, both of which are buckets filled with vomit and should never be talked about in public. Both of them should be shamed in public on sight. So let's 10 cent. Yep. Don't understand why they would be spraying. It will affect them as well. They're spraying us. It's a dimming. They're calling it dimming. And what it's doing is cutting out certain frequencies of light, which is going to bring on famine, is going to bring on sickness, not as much vitamin D getting through. It's a way to, they're doing it because, the world's getting hotter. So if the sun isn't reaching us and they can put a block between the sun and us, and we're only seeing what they're doing in the atmosphere, there are stories that they are actually doing this in space as well. I think they are far too ridiculous at this juncture to entertain with bothering you with. But I'm just saying there are stories that from the moon they are working to dim the sun's rays upon the earth. Once again, with a kind of hazing or dimming kind of material. Believe that if and as you will. Keep an eye out for Kevin Crud. I believe Crud is going to poke his head up at the UN real soon. And if my source who tells me that is correct, we might be lucky enough to just about see it get chopped off. It could be good viewing. It might be right up there with some of that viewing that we're seeing at the moment that we never thought we'd see. Why they'd only pick on Crud, I would have thought that they could grab Gillard as well, given her close association to the Clintons and the Clinton Foundation. Of course, Crud was involved with them as well, very deeply. We have been responsible for giving to the Clinton Foundation or associated organs of it over $400 million. They did nearly as well out of us as Ukraine. Ukraine have got 910 million so far. That's sort of in kind and equipment. We don't give anybody cash, apparently. The cash goes to the aid agencies who are owned by the elite. And then they dish out the bag of rice to the person at the other end. Filthy bastards, they have to be stopped, folks. They have to be stopped. What are we doing about it? What are you doing about it? Well, all we can do at the moment is find each other, band together, and try and do good things in our community to get more people on board. We do need to try and wake more and more of them up. And I think some of the things that we've discussed here tonight are going to wake people up if you ask them the right questions. If you ask them if they saw it and they say, oh, yeah, what do they think about it? What would people say about that Italian one? Oh, God, that looks like a space station coming down into the atmosphere. Well, yeah, it does. But look at it all in isolation, each of the bits in isolation, and see whether or not it all adds up. Don't be scared about what's going to come, folks. Don't be scared of it. Band together, be in your community, and the unity from your community will keep you strong. There will always be someone to support you. always. Get to a My Place and be part of it now. And if you are already part of a My Place, then grab someone who isn't and take them along. Bring their whole family along too. And speaking of things to get along to, tomorrow in the park beside the RSL in Caboolture, go along and check out the Forest of the Fallen. If you haven't been to a Forest of the Fallen yet, they are just a sad but an amazing tribute to the folks that we've lost. And Dr. William Bay, or the former Dr. William Bay, we'll figure out tomorrow which one he is, will be cooking the snacks, or at least standing close by to have one, I'm sure. Have yourself a good night, folks. Don't do anything I wouldn't do. And remember, stay clear of those dickheads.
You let one ant stand up to us, then they all might stand up. Those puny little ants outnumber us 100 to 1. And if they ever figure that out, there goes our way of life. It's not about food. It's about keeping those ants in line. That's why we're going back. Does anybody else want to stay? Let's rock!